Howdy gamers, old gamer guy here. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then I hope you have been eating good food and having good times, but never mind that. This is Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin, and we're going to take a look at about the first hour of the campaign, highly edited. There is also an AI skirmish mode and a multiplayer mode and a conquest mode, but we're going to look at about the first hour of the story on the normal difficulty. And Warhammer is a franchise that I've been aware of for a long time, but I don't really know much about the lore, so I'm not going to talk about how this fits in with all of that because I don't understand it. There's a very Space Marine type age of Warhammer, and this one looks like it's more magic and crossbows and swords and shields. And I'm not really sure how all that ties together, but this story apparently was at least co-written by someone who has some fantasy novel credits to their name. So hopefully this story will be above average. Here you can get a look at what the cutscenes look like, and I'm going to let you hear the voice actors here very briefly, but I'm not going to go much into the story here. All you need to know is that we are apparently the good guys, and we are leaving our fortress because we're having some trouble with some aggressive creatures nearby, and there is an artifact that we think can help.
The Orcs grow brazen. They bleed us. I know we are too depleted to respond. And now I risk what little we have left.
Trust my auguring, Sigmar. There is an artifact of power in the swamp. If we can claim it, we can cleanse the Orcs and save our cannabis.
It's better to die in the attempt than be swallowed by time and dust.
That was a very cool sounding thing to say right there, but in reality these three named characters here cannot die. They can be struck down in battle, but then they can be respawned. There's actually a story-based reason why they can respawn, and we will play as those characters eventually, but we're going to start off as this group of advanced scouts here, and we're going to get our first gameplay. We start off in a mode called Direct Move, and once we select a unit to control, we can use the left analog to kind of aim around in the general area. The cursor is kind of tethered to that unit, as you will see, and then you can hit square to actually have them move, and if you want to, you can chain together a few destinations. So we're going to walk our way over here, and we're going to get into our first combat. These creatures are definitely not orcs. They are instead oryx. So it's a very important difference there, even though they do seem to act very similarly to the orc. But you can see that combat is well animated, and it takes a little while to play out. Once these melee units are locked in combat, they are locked in combat. You can't just move them away from each other. So we have been in direct move mode, but if I hit L2, I can go into attack move mode, and you will see that the cursor changes red when I hit L2. In direct move, they will ignore combat unless they are attacked, and if you highlight an enemy, they will follow that enemy as long as it's visible. But in attack move mode, they will just automatically get into some combat. So we're going to start some combat here. Like I said, these battles take a little while to play out, so I'm going to skip ahead to a little farther battle, or a battle that's a little bit farther on. And we're going to kill most of these oryx, but one of them is going to have enough self-awareness to run away instead of dying. But unfortunately for him, he is going to run into another problem. So Yeah, obviously this creature is larger, and our troops are aware that they would have a problem fighting this thing, so we are going to use an ability. This is an ability that will hide us from that large creature. It's called Hidden Paths, and you can see my abilities in the lower left-hand corner. They are set off by a button or a button combo, and they cost resources, which are in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail with all that, but I will call out some of those abilities as I use them. But this one allows us to sneak on by. Notice that creature disappears back into the fog of war as we move by. But we're going to ignore him for now and move up this way, and we're going to capture our first strategic point. This game is marketed as a real-time strategy game, and it is that, but it's a pretty basic one. These points are all clearly marked on the map, and beyond capturing them and upgrading them, you're not really doing much building. Now we have a command post, and it is healing us, which is important because we are not able to heal ourselves at this point. We do not have a healer unit, and our health is not replenishing. So as we get into combat, as you can see, our health bar just kind of stays damaged.
We are being attacked!
Capturing this point takes our Realm Stone income from +3 to +6, and you're going to see those points in the upper left-hand corner accumulate, because I think I probably should have been using my abilities a bit more often than I did in this video, but never mind that, because one of our guys just died. Yeah, like I said, we're not being healed, so eventually we can lose some of our troops as we fight along. But never mind that. We found some friendlies, which is great news. But unfortunately, we were surrounded by Oryx just right after that, and so our troops were captured. And that's not great, but never fear. Those 3 named characters that I pointed out earlier are not far behind.
Sigmar, the Vanguard hunters have not reported in.
We are still finding their markers. They must have moved deeper into the swamp. We continue along their trail.
So now we're going to have control of some more powerful troops. And when I select a unit, I can use the left stick to point at another unit and hit X again, and then I could jump to that unit if I wanted to. Or I can hold triangle to group units together, and there is also a way to create a battalion, but you're not going to see me do that in this video. And when you have multiple units selected, you can hit down on the digital pad to switch between them. But we're going to move on with these guys here. Clicking on L3 will take us into reticle mode, which will allow us to detach the cursor, and then we can give orders a little further away from our units than we were before, because we will have to spread our attention out a little bit later on. But these characters are actually strong enough to fight this Troggoth, so we're going to go ahead and kill him.
I expected more from it. Here we go. That's more like it.
We're barely past the choke, and already such powerful enemies. My hand is forced. Stormdrake Guard to the front!
At this point, we get a taste of one of our more powerful units, because our commander has called a Stormdrake Guard to the front. And we're going to get to see the Stormdrake Guard in action right away, because some more Troggoths are approaching. Yeah, like I said, I probably should have used my abilities more. And so yeah, I apologize for not showing you more of these abilities. We probably could have killed these guys a little faster if I had used my abilities correctly, but I am going to use the Draconic Flame Stream here. So I can hit R1 and then aim with the analog stick and then hit R1 again to trigger the ability, and you can see it is quite devastating. But now our people are a little bit injured, so I'm going to use a healing ability because we do have a healer in this little group here. The guy that is holding the banner can use an ability called Banner of the Reforged, and it's a pretty large area of effect. It's a nice looking spell, and he is healing our units. Eventually we find the command post that our scouts captured, but there is no sign of them, so we're pressing on. And here's a little bit more combat. I'm going to use the Draconic Flame Stream again here, and then you will see me use an ability called Sigmar's Aegis here in a moment, and that will be an ability used by my melee characters. There it goes, and it gives them some temporary hit points. And then here in a second, one of the named characters, named Sigrun, is going to use Furious Retribution, and it has a large area of effect, and it's kind of an inspirational battle cry sort of a thing, and I think it increases everybody's combat abilities temporarily.
Let me fly ahead. I will find them.
Very well. Search, but do not engage. And have a care, Mazrin. I do not want to lose my only Stormdrake guard.
We shall be safe from harm whilst on the wing.
Unfortunately, this is the last time we will see the Stormdrake guard alive. So apparently they will not, in fact, be safe whilst on the wing. But they are going to scout ahead, and unfortunately we are losing access to a really good unit there, even though I admittedly did not use that unit properly. But never mind that, because we have found a tent that is actually shooting at us. It looks like it's maybe got some poisonous gas, poisonous air of some kind, that it is shooting at our troops. I'm just moving my group of units here just as one big group. They're all grouped together, and I'm just moving them with the square button, and then using down on the digital pad to select specific units and triggering these abilities, like the healing ability here. I'm not doing it very efficiently, but we are going to get a small victory against this enemy tent. And once we do, that will be the end of this first little level here. We are establishing a presence in these lands, and then we are going to push forward.
But without Vanguard hunters, we're blind to ambush. Move out!
We get a glimpse of another cool-looking unit in the upper right-hand corner there, but never mind that. We got a victory, and we're going to get some rewards. I'm not sure exactly what these rewards are. Some of them look like cosmetic stuff, like a banner that you would use in a multiplayer profile, that type of thing. I didn't really take a close look to see what those rewards were, so I don't know if they're actually useful within the game. But there we can see a few stats. But let's move on to the next level. And once again, we're going to get a glimpse at those cool looking units there. But they're going to fly away, and I'm not actually going to get to use them. But never mind that, because we have access to a battle tome. If we press the options button, I guess that's called the options button, we can go into the pause menu and select the battle tome, and then we can look at various game concepts if we forget how it all works. But also notice that we have 4 factions here. Only 2 of these factions are appearing in this video, but apparently there are 2 more factions in this game. And I guess there may be a point where all four are fighting at the same time. Here we get a look at a new type of terrain. I think this is mud or something, but difficult terrain can slow, weaken, or damage your units, so you have to be careful moving them around. I think this mud could kind of spread your units out, which you wouldn't necessarily want as you are running into a battle. There we can see our caster doing some work. He's got a cool ability called Chain Lightning. And here we are capturing an arcane conduit. And you can see it takes a little bit longer to capture these arcane conduits. We can see our Storm Drake guard dead on the ground there. So that's very sad.
Stupid Stormgits! You think you got the grit to march here? Come and get some!
Gather the battalions. I'll secure the path here.
So we sent our Storm Drake off earlier and they ended up dead, and now we are sending our healer off to do something else, which seems like a questionable idea. So yeah, I'm questioning the wisdom of our commander there, but never mind that, because now we can start recruiting other troops. We can queue up a number of troops as long as we have the resources to pay for them, of course. And we can get to that menu by pressing the touchpad. I have 2 named units available on that menu. The healer is not one of them, but those other 2 are still alive, so we can't summon them, but I'm going to summon 1 each of those other types of units. So we're going to get a melee unit and a ranged unit that will appear over there by the command post as we fight our way forward toward another strategic point that is going to take a little extra time to capture, but there you can see in the background some of those newly recruited units are emerging, but they're not running over here to us automatically. They're just going to stand over there next to the command post until I move them around. This is just telling us that we can change the way our units are facing. So if we just have some ranged units guarding a point, then we need to have them facing the proper direction, because other units could sneak up behind them and do some major damage. And I guess if I am detecting a weakness in this game so far, it would be that there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. Your hero characters, you can have them scissor each other at a strategic point to get some amazing bonuses. No, your hero characters do not fall into those categories, so that is a little bit of an extra wrinkle, but there is kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. I think you could guess that these guys with the shields would fall into the rock category. Here it's talking about our defenses, because this strategic point can be upgraded into a bastion. We have 2 different types of bastions available at the beginning. I assume more will become available later. But if we click on the point with X and then open the upgrade menu with X, we can choose between the Ether Wing Roost or the Outpost Siphon. One would give us command points, the other one would give us Realm Stone. I chose the Outpost Siphon, which is the Realm Stone. Each of those things can be used to cast abilities and also purchase upgrades. Here you can see that there are upgrades for our troops, but you will not see that in this video. There you can see some of my units being destroyed because I have them placed badly and they're being damaged from a distance. So I'm going to move these guys back. Meanwhile, we have located some friendly prisoners and also some destructible terrain. So I'm going to bring my caster up and use his chain lightning ability on this destructible terrain. Destructible terrain is always nice. It's always fun to watch, but also fun to use in a strategic way if possible. But we make short work of this barricade, and now we can move all of our troops up here and attack this area. And this is where those shots were coming from that were damaging my other troops. It looks like there's a couple of ballistas here, but we're going to make short work of them. And now we have control of a choke point here on the map, so I can move all of my troops up, and we can continue on this way. It all looks really cool. You can zoom in a nice amount and get a good cinematic view. Here I'm going to use an ability called the Astral Compass, which will remove some of the fog of war. Once again, I won't be using this ability in the most strategically efficient way possible, but at least it'll show you what it does. So I can choose the area back here, and if you keep an eye on it, there you go. The fog of war was removed, and now we can hear, we can see some other units approaching. I need to get better at using my abilities in a strategic way, but never mind that, because we need to talk about rally points. Like I said, when I recruited those troops earlier, they just kind of ran out into that area around the command post. But if I go into reticle mode, I can leave these other guys over here fighting, and we can take a look back at our command post. And then if we click on it, then I can use the square button to create a path for our troops to follow, and I can have them run from the command post area all the way over here where they will be more strategically useful. What a concept. So I think you can kind of get an idea of what this game is all about. Here I am about to do something really stupid, but you know, I've got a decent group of troops here, and we're moving up. We're being pummeled from two different directions by ranged attacks, and I am losing troops as I advance, so that's not great. I'm moving them around this cover, so that's at least a little bit of brain power on display. But things are going to go even more horribly wrong here as we approach and try to attack, because my wizard is kind of being distracted back here. And he is now locked in combat with those orcs. Those oryx. Sorry about that. They're not orcs. They are oryx. He's actually going to take out one of them here, but I'm going to trigger the retreat ability at this point, because I don't want to lose him. You kind of have to decide whether you can afford to press forward or whether you need to run back and heal your troops up around the command post, because I still don't have a healer right now. I think the game is trying to teach me that very thing, you know, that you need to be strategic, which I am not, apparently. So these guys are just getting destroyed, and meanwhile my wizard is still running. He's being pursued by some oryx, but I think they're going to lose sight of him and they're going to stop chasing him. But when you retreat, they will automatically run all the way back to your command post. So I'm going to go ahead and recruit some more troops here. Sigrun was wiped out in that battle, so I'm going to recruit Sigrun and 2 more ranged units and 2 more melee units, and then we are going to advance again. And that's kind of where I left off at the end of my first hour of gameplay. I do really like this. I think you can see that it looks nice and it's well animated, but like I said, it does seem to be kind of basic, so there is that. But I do like this so far, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. There will, of course, be more videos coming in the near future, but for now, as always, thank you very much for watching this one.